Happens all the time. Yeah, well, bro, I was just, I don't know. Sometimes you're just chilling, man. I'm not always, like, hyper aware of... Wait, is it... Oh, there we go. Then what happened? We just went back and the people at the store had it. We have taken to calling it the White Rabbit Signal. What I'm about to show you is the best recording we have. Just don't look directly at the screen.
Moją karierę ma troszkę incydentów. A pomocy piłki jest frekwencyjnie jakoś. Rakazilo, wtedy to udelankę. Zeskadał wylenie ukrylony. Straga kontakt wydaje się sygnały z Ukrainy. Front Kisan.
Oh.
Osaka feromantkissen till folkets eller kompai än folk makia. Familjen tračne.
Yo, Yama, thank you for the 43 months, man.
Ja, försiktiga sig med det för det. Grav.
Dig. What is that? Wake up. Oh, that's better. Victor, I've spoken to the committee again. They are prepared to pay off your debts in full, and they will pull some strings so you could be reinstated as a citizen again. They're still skeptical, but I believe they know as well as I that you are the best navigator still alive. This might be the last chance I'm able to give you. I know you will make me proud. The best navigator. Drilling and Exploration Division. Dude, why is it so fucking dark in here? Oh, there we go. We got some SIGs. Unlocks dorm 4 deck floor. Insert a door into a door panel. Okay. So that's what this cassette does. Dorm 4 deck floor. Unlabeled orange shell. Still carries that factory smell. Yo, Tessidius, thank you for the 2 months, man. What's up, dude? Okay. How do I... Let's see, is there controls? Return. interact. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay. I see. Oh, that's a good idea, actually. Hey, Skipper, thank you for the 6 months. Resident of Mayhem, thank you for the 12 months, man. Thank you, dude. We got a message. Unread order available in terminal access communication system and review immediately. Current depth. Ship atmosphere, temperature report. Access communication system, okay. This is a pretty big... Wait, can I go down? What's that? Oh gosh. Insert the fuse into the sockets. Do not force insertion. Oh boy. Okay. Well, let's go read the message first. I mean, we don't... Oh, here we go. Okay. What's this? Used to record and replay the precious few transmissions to reach these rumbling depths. Oh, okay. This is cool so far. Inscribe to communicate. Okay, so I have to do this. Do I have to put on this machine now? Message 127. This is Maria Surface Control. What is going on? I know the White Rabbit is disrupting most communications, but you've been at a standstill for over 12 hours now. Hope this is just another Kaminsky issue, but you must get him back into the cockpit. Right now, you're too far off course for the autopilot to keep up without a navigator. This is also a gentle reminder that all ship systems are dependent on the power that is generated by the drill itself, including temperature control. Okay. Getting the drill moving again must be your absolute top priority, otherwise you'll be boiled alive in a few hours. For now, you'll have to divert power yourself by rerouting the fuse box on the wreck floor. I refuse to cancel this mission over one drunk, too much is at stake. Remember, we're all depending on you. For tomorrow. Okay, so divert power to the drill, I guess. Would that be the engine? Rotate the middle selector knobs to match the amount of fuses installed. One fuse. Press and hold the red glowing charge button until the indicator light turns solid green. Oh wait, that's this button. Flip switches 1, 3, 6, and 7 into the upright on position. 6, 7. Switches may be stiff, apply steady pressure, pull down the breaker lever with a firm motion. Alright. Actually, wait. I think I might have done this wrong. Did they say I should reroute it to the rec room? Oh no, it says on the rerouting the fuse box on the wreck floor. Well, the drill ain't doing shit. Why are the... Oh, right, the lights are... My God, what am I doing? Rec room is downstairs. There's the deck, engine hall, and the engine room. We are here. What is the WC? There a... Dude, I need the... I can't fucking see anything. Okay, I think we need to do power on the wreck. Check diagnostics in the cockpit located on the deck. That's back upstairs, right? Oh, wait, no. Deck is below us. Okay. Heating system cycling irregular, not critical. Check ballast tanks again. Crew fatigue. The stick game that Prod played? What the fuck is that? What do you mean stick game? I love when people are like, yo, this game that this person played looks sick, you should play it. And it's like, okay, well, what's the fucking name? Source of massive blackouts discovered. Signal found by Dr. Hiratsenko. You love some cock in your pit? That's good. I'm happy for you. Is something trying to contact us from below? The frequency of the signal seems to change depending on the observer. Doctor says, in plain terms, it speaks in different ways depending on who's listening. Ever since the Matryoshka incident, most citizens of the SPRN have in some way or another experienced something. I mean, I saw the body, but I mean, it's just our geologist. He had a bit of an accident. Can I say what this game is about? It seems like we're in a drilling operation and, well, one of our crew members is dead. And, we're drilling to the fucking core of the earth or some shit. I don't even know if we're on the earth, quite frankly, but... Geonaut. Yeah, you haven't really missed much. Oh, we have another fuse. Okay. Right, the fuse box is down here. Oops. Well, we should probably do the... Okay, we have a map here too. We want to do the deck, I think. Yeah. It says the deck is down this way though, but it says check diagnostics in the cockpit. Oh, wait. Oh. Oh, wait a sec. I think our red tape... I like this is like this fucking this vessel or whatever the hell you want to call this thing is huge. It's got 5 fucking stories. Bodan has been losing teeth, which makes him even more irritable than usual. Other than that, the man seems to be keeping it together better than the rest of us. Submarine, yeah. Well, is it a sub? Maybe it is. I guess we don't really know. Speculating it might be because he has a family waiting for him back home, something to keep him going. Victor, White Rabbit sickness is hard on us all, but seems to be hitting Victor harder than most. Not surprising, sadly. The signal seems intent on digging up the parts of the past we'd prefer to forget. And Victor was doing his best to forget, even before the mission. Remarkable that he's still one of the nation's best navigators, even when half drunk. Still, giving him some extra attention, need him to know that he's not alone. Man, is anybody even alive on this ship, I wonder? Wait, can I read the right page? Oh, I can. Yosep lives in his own little world as usual. He claims to be receiving instructions about the White Rabbit from a dead friend, which is never a good sign. Getting near impossible to communicate with him about anything other than the signal. As long as I've known him, he's always been obsessive about his work. This seems different. Perhaps he simply sees more than the rest of us. Stepan? Joints are acting up, eyesight seems to be deteriorating, and emptying the bladder is more difficult than I'm remembering it's ever been. What can be said? The White Rabbit seems to want to remind me of my age. She is there too, of course. She always is. Well, I don't think we need to use this computer. Wait, we have a phone? Okay, I don't know what I'm doing with this thing. Keep drilling until target depth is reached, locate signal source, find out what happened the previous expedition. Cockpit, something invent? Tell Bodan. Toilet. O2, the laboratory engine, okay. Fix event. Wait, there was a fucking screwdriver upstairs. Was I not able to pick that up? Oh, I was. I just had to crouch. Oh, shit. Hopefully nothing's in here. What was that? Is that you, Stepan? Man, I need a fucking flashlight. It's so dark. Oh, what's this? And an angel descended upon the earth and wiped every tear from their eyes. Drone 732. Insert key to start engine. Ah. Input coordinates. Current course outdated. Drill standby. Fuck. Hello? What is all of this? Oh, this is to input the coordinates. We need a navigation cassette, I think. Aren't the coordinates the 732? I don't think so. But maybe. I don't really think that's... I don't think that's it. I feel like we need a navigation cassette to tell us where to go. Can I... The thing is, I don't think... This isn't gonna fucking do anything. I feel like we need to find... I feel like I'm missing something in here. But I don't really know. Like, the vessel is off course, but the problem is I just don't know... I don't know what coordinates we need. That's the issue. No idea. The Earth is not a foe, she is a challenge. Okay. So, that we are digging into the Earth. Wait, what the fuck is this? Oh. Okay, that makes sense. Examination constitutes the final assessment prior to navigator certification. All responses are evaluated against standards. Make us all proud, Victor. According to the October Doctrine, what is the first step in a course correction procedure? Activate the ping lever to strike the tunnel walls and gather raw seismic data. It must be done with the raw echo data before it can be used. Translate it into a visual terrain map through a decryptor. After processing the echo data, how should the sonar arrows be adjusted? Coordinate setter arrows should be pointed towards the least obstructed points on the screen. Okay, so we activate the ping lever to gather data. We use that data to translate it into a map with the decryptor. And then we adjust the arrows, I guess. Oh, there's more. After extracting coordinates from the sonar, how is the course correction carried out? Input the coordinates into the pilot, then steer toward the target using the joystick. Put the coordinates into the pilot. Okay. How is the correct throttle RPM determined for drilling? Read the ground density from the decrypted data and match it to an RPM chart. Okay, I think I understand. What is this? Do not turn this page until you are told to do so. I want to turn the page. Well, we can go into the laboratory now, I think. Well, actually, we could check what this tape does at the computer. Oh, wait, navigation cassette? Okay. Yeah, no, it's just for this then. I thought maybe we could get into the lab, but I guess it was green. Okay, so the question is, what is the ping lever? Is that this? Seismic data encoded. Data must be decrypted in a seismic terminal. Ground density 4.0. Oh, okay, I see. Okay. X25, Y28. The ground density is 4, so we need 30 RPM. Oh. God, what the fuck am I doing? Alright, I think we're good. The vessel is off course. Is it? Oh, I have to actually press that. I thought it was telling me that autopilot was already on. I didn't realize I could press it. Okay. The fuck is that sound? Is this guy actually alive? What dorm are you in? Oh, it's 1982. Damn. The music's kind of creepy. Also, the body is gone. Hold on. I'm gonna go grab a drink, chat. I'll be back in 1 sec. Alright, I'm back. Yo, Oipa, thank you for the 5 gifted subs, man. Thank you, dude. Just looking a little sussy. Oh my. Where am I going? My glasses. Maybe it's just in our mind. Still looking for your son. The light of consciousness is the most precious thing any citizen may own. Must be kept cold. What? Kinda dark and... oh. He is still here somewhere in this old painful memory of yours. You just have to find him again. Okay. A lot of beer. The Institute notes that the total sum of your debt now exceeds 39 million sev. Letter serves as a reminder that we have the authority to dispossess your citizenship status should we see no change in your capacity to repay the outstanding amount. Following is a summary of your recent significant bank statements. Hospital 12. The Vostok Initiative. Okay. Well, I'm cooked. Let me out. Did I just drink? I mean, what? Oh. Oh. What's that? Bring him to the TV. The fuck? In the end, perhaps we can both find redemption. Do I have thoughts on Duskbloods? I can't see anything. Oh, there we go. Do, 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 do. I hope you've had a chance to consider what I said when we last spoke. I'm truly sorry it's been so long. I know it's easy for others to talk about dark times and how to make them go away. It was the same with Darina, so many colleagues telling me to make sure to get some sun as if that would bring her back. But I really don't think you should be calling that number. I know you want to cling on to hope, but hope is not what they're offering. They want you to take you somewhere that doesn't exist. A place that will never let you truly heal. My door is always open if you want to talk, Stepan. Okay. What are we doing now? Okay, it's the same. Oh, shit. What, chat? What? What? Failure of almost every kind of modern technological system has been reported since the Matryoshka incident. According to Dr. Kritsenko of the Strata Institute, a strange signal from below there seems to be the cause. The signal keeps finding its way into all types of recording equipment. Like the frequency naturally tries to overwrite any existing data. Oh, we got two. I think that's for the laboratory. Fuck. Geology lab. It's just to open the door. Okay, well we can't get into one. Not sure where that goes. What is our next order? Maria here. We at Surface Control had our first moment of joy since the Matryoshka incident when you completed the course correction. Thank you for keeping our hopes alive. Now for the bad news. Our systems have lost track of the signal again. You'd think something that has caused so much havoc up here would be easier to find. Word that Dr. Hitsenko is the one responsible for interpreting the signal data, but it's been a disturbingly long time since we received any data at all from his lab. Refuse to accept the worst, but you need to make a new recording, even if he is unable to do so himself. Otherwise, you'll be digging blindly for tomorrow. Okay. To the lab. What is that? makes your hand go numb. Targeting cassette. So, wait, can I turn on the... Oh, here we go. It's so fucking dark in here, man. Follow it and I will lead you through the darkness. Bro, what is going on? Signal exposure leaves imprint on retina. Need room to be dark. Am I imprinting? The question is, how do I retrieve the waypoint data? Oh, what is this? Convert signal data into a usable waypoint. Signal data destabilizes vessel systems on contact. Tune radio transmitter to correct signal frequency. Record the signal onto a cassette. Insert cassette into navigation system to process coordinates. Standard strata cassettes will fail under signal load. Use instead neural storage cassettes designed to carry unstable cognitive data compatible with signal structure. Okay. I don't know what the fuck. Align retinal mark with chart. Chart. Wait, what fucking chart? Doesn't seem like it's in here. Oh, what the fuck? How did I miss this before? I guess because I turned the light on right away. Okay. $17.12. Oh. Navigation system, okay. System requires 3 vectors of file type XYZ. I'm working on it. Waypoint up to date. Wait, maybe I need to go to the office? Compatible with cockpit terminal. Okay. I'm fucking confused, chat. Geological waypoint data already uploaded to system. No action needed. Okay, well, I can't put it in any of these, right? I'm very confused, actually. Because I don't know, I'm just confused because it said that the data was uploaded to the system, but it's like, how do I access that data? There's no way I have to go back up here, but these are the orders. Unless... Oh, okay. I guess we just do the previous steps with this. Since the data was uploaded to the system, we don't need to use that other one anymore. 2.71. So we can go like 60 RPM. Maybe 59 to be safe. Okay, 3786. Or actually, I guess 8637. Autopilot? Am I missing something? I mean, it's 2.71. That should be... There we go. I guess it just takes a little bit of time. Yeah, this game is basically a more complicated Iron Lung. Oh, we got another phone call. Oh, there's... Okay. It's like, what am I doing here? Petro. Okay. It's my invoice. Central Hospital 12. 11, 10, 19, 18. Oh, 82736409. You have reached Vostok Continuity Services. Thank you for taking this step. Before we proceed, please remember, preservation is not an act of denial, it is an act of care. A neural cassette has been issued to a registered name. Please enter the cassette identification number associated with this name, then press... Okay. The cassette, wait, that was... Wait, where was the cassette one? With this thing? No, that's a... Oh, ID 51. So ID is associated with the name Petro. If this is correct, press 1. If this is not correct, press 2. Thank you, Kaminsky, for registering with Vostok. Our records indicate that the payment has not been finalized and requires your registration consent. Call serves as verification. To proceed, we will ask you to confirm some details. Enter the age of the person associated with this record, then press... How old am I? Oh, 1974, but what... Wait, what year is it, though? Out until 1988. Okay. Hospital identification number 12. Well, yeah, see, the thing is, person's last confirmed happy memory occurred on their birthday. My god, dude, what is all this fucking questions, man? It says 1979. But when was... I don't know, I'm confused, man. Oh, right. Never mind, I'm fucking stupid. For some reason I was I'm so stupid. Okay. Wait, what was it again? January 2nd? And day, month? Okay. Oh wait. Okay. Okay, do we do we have this much money? I guess we do. Your account is now in debt. I'm not paying attention to the backseaters chat. It was literally, I mean, it wasn't complicated puzzle at all. I just was denting a little bit. All these things I want to teach him, all these things I want him to experience. Just every... That's depressing. Hmm. So, like, I guess we had a child that, like, died and then... I don't know. I'm curious about, like, the whole neural cassette thing. Is that, like... They're, like, putting his memories on, like, a disc or something? Maybe I'm... misinterpreting it. Vessel is off course again. Classic. There's probably a message for us upstairs. Oh, never mind. Oops. I just forget I gotta do this first. .45. Okay. So like 45 RPM, roughly. $18.69. Oh, is it because I didn't put this? Oh, right, I gotta do this. What? Repair? How? Oh, fuck, I'm gonna have to go down to the engine hall. Fuck is that? It doesn't sound that much like a phone. I mean, like, I know it's the phone, but sometimes I think it's someone else. Damn, bro. I'm coming down. Oh. the lights on here. Wait, did I... Oops. Hey, Cylinder, thank you for the 23 months, man. Oh. Fixed an issue with the engine filters. Right one breaks when under too much strain. Spoke to the pilot about it. Weird fucker. Right engine filter keeps breaking, keeping the inventory on hand here in the shed for now. Guess Strata dug up the first junk they could find for this mission. Desperate times and all that. Idiots. Piece of shit filter broke again, down to one spare now. It'll have to do. Keep having nightmares, always about Lilia and Vera. Miss them so goddamn much. This mission was one big mistake from the start. Things go missing, everyone acts like lunatics, the pilot most of all. Bet my life, he is risking this entire mission with that insane cassette of his. Adamanko is too much of an idiot to steer the ship straight, then I'll do it myself. Okay, I think the right one is the one that broke again. Okay, we need a key. Hey, Phoenix, thank you for the 52 months, man. Thank you, dude. Oh. Is there anything else here? Not looking too good for our boy. Engineer. There's a vent? What's up, Jolene? Oh. Oh, I think this one is broken. Beautiful. I'm not sure the voltage that we need, though. Coolant fuel pumps? Well, I think we fixed the airflow. And maybe we fix the electricity. Not sure how we fix the coolant though. He has inventory in the shed. What is the shed? Well, there's this fucking key, but I don't... Why does this show like a rotating symbol? Definitely feel like I'm missing something here. Oh. Hurry. Ah. We're just gonna leave the wrench there? I guess so. Okay, now... What about the fuel pumps? Are they under? I don't think so, but... Can't, like, interact with this thing further. Unless I'm supposed... I mean, maybe I need... I don't know. Maybe I need to take one of the fuses out of the... fuse box upstairs. I don't know, I don't really like know where the fuel pump is. Like I don't really know what these are for. Wait, where the fuck am I? I think we're on the right track. I mean, it like has to be this. I don't know what else it could be. Oh god. Oh. Oh my god. Why is it not closing? Oh! Oh! Oh, what the fuck's that? Door what? Oh, dear God. Oh god. Get me out of here, dude. You must face it head on. He just wants a friend, yeah. .45. That's the same as last time. Alright. How is this? Elevator? I don't remember that. How do I use... Oh. Have you lost someone? To lose a loved one is the deepest wound a person can carry. The world is cruel, we learned that far too early, but it doesn't not have to end there. Through revolutionary neuroarchival technology, the Vostok Initiative offers a final chance to preserve what matters most. Using our state-of-the-art memory cassettes, a human consciousness can be transferred moments before biological death. Voice and memory of presence preserves. You never truly have to say goodbye, and perhaps one day you may even speak again. Okay, so that is what happened. I see. My intuition was correct. Kind of dark. Oh. You hear a patient who has been confirmed to be deceased speak. Do not under any circumstances listen to what they are saying. 12th April. Patient still without appetite, lucid but under continuous distress. Exposure to signal paradoxically seems to alleviate some symptoms. Reinstate IV in 24 hours. Place signal recording at 2-hour intervals. Patient catatonic without constant exposure to signal experiences sudden bursts of activity, speaks an unknown but seemingly coherent language. Keep sedated and make sure to never handle without proper support staff. Arrange for immediate patient transfer to specialist hospital, law enforcement notified. Isn't that just right outside? Oh. Oh, we're in the hospital. Well, I mean, I knew that, but we're in the specific... Well, that makes sense, of course, but... We're in the memory. Oh! Newspaper? 11th April, early morning, the first of an ongoing series of earthquakes struck Nizhnegarod. The events have led to several power plants failing, and the city center is at the time of writing ravaged by countless fires. More recent reports also indicate that nearly all types of electronics in the city have been rendered unusable. Authorities have yet to comment on if this is a natural phenomenon or some kind of coordinated attack. Seemingly ever-escalating nature of the disaster has, however, already led to some dubbing it as the Matryoshka incident. Not sure where I'm supposed to go now. Three. It's like an open door? Where the hell? Where is that? Oh, it's here now. I didn't catch the door number. Oh. Am I supposed to be able to turn around? Oh, I have to click off. Mario Demchenko, a senior representative of the once dominant mining and energy conglomerate Strata, has been summoned by the Directorate Board. She's to answer questions about a possible connection between the so-called Matryoshka incident and the M12 mission, a Strata-sponsored expedition that launched earlier this month. The expedition was the first mission of its kind undertaken by Strata in over 9 years. The second expedition has now been proposed, this time to be led by veteran geonaut Stepan Adamenko. The goal of this expedition is said to be to investigate why the M12 lost contact with the surface, though Strata has claimed to have no hope of finding their crew still alive. It's a bit dark. Oh, I think it's here. Oh, it's that fucking painting. It is 1:10. $317. Where do we put that code in? Oh, room 317, I guess. Maybe. Can't get out. Oh, there's a key. Did I miss it? Oh, he's got a mole. Take the cassette. During the moment of passing, there is a change of exactly 21 grams in a patient's weight. This has been theorized as being the soul leaving the body. Of utmost importance that this moment is captured by the neural recorder. Euthanasia is therefore needed to ensure the recording and the patient's moment of passing are synchronized. Who stole him from you? You have to go home right now. All landlines, electronics out of order. Fires throughout the city. Can't tell you confidential details. We have made a mistake I fear we cannot undo. Alright, I gotta grab this back. Oh, we can go into Bodon. Oh, can't go like anywhere else. He likes playing cards. Please be safe down there. This is the last time, you promised. Everything feels heavy. I can't open my eyes. It's hard to move or say anything. I hear voices sometimes. I think one of them is Dad. The sun that never sets, Petra. Got in a fight in school. Mikhail put my shoes in the toilet again, so I hit him. Dad says hitting people is bad, but I don't think he ever had to walk home in wet, stinky shoes when he was in school. We ate pancakes together. They were really good. Now I'm waiting to open my presents. I want a mole. Damn, this is grim. So why the fuck does this... Why does this guy have our disc? Sorry to say it, but this mission is a disaster. It's been several days now since any contact from you. Now you've hit a dead end. Navigating through the layers below you is far too precise for our instruments. We can't risk another Matryoshka incident. We're terminating your autopilot systems in order to save power while we are discussing extraction. Sure, you no one wants this, especially when you're so close to the M12 vessel. Sometimes you just have to accept reality. Don't listen to their apathy. Even if you tried to explain what truly is at stake here for you now, would they understand? I guess we're fucking going anyways. Or is there another fuse anywhere? Yeah, I'm excited for Welcome to Game 3. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Hopefully the difficulty is good. Drill advance halted. Access torpedo room engine hall. Arm and detonate forward drill torpedo. Torpedo. Welcome to Game 3 comes out in like 3 weeks. I think it's July 16th. Insert a torpedo into the firing tube, place the primer over the tube, and cock it. Hey, wait, where's the torpedoes, though? What the fuck is this? Ah, here we go. Oh, ho ho. Oops, wrong way. The question is, where's the fucking firing tube? I feel like it's not even in here. Oh, wait a sec. It is. I see. I don't know if I did that right. I think you have to wait for the right moment. There we go. Okay. What is that sound? It's so loud. All right.
Victor, ese es Stefan. Dalgi sabi eksplosjonen vasi. Varuje? Tidno se vopazeki. Kutega vasmini pola waiki bakopai. Kupami esi reserve wasi kutbediko. Varida mojli was misa matocha. Strava se vi kun med autobulær vasi. De bedste lever for sig mig mellem 12 vækst i begatjenterne. Lua, hvilket vi snakker ud med Josef den hvordan vi den. Hvor lei har med det.
Don't let them tempt you into surrender, since when has anything worthwhile ever been easy? They will never truly trust you, Victor. But I do. Get into the cockpit, listen to your instincts. Alright, I'm going in the cockpit. Four-digit employee ID from your issued dorm cassette. Waypoint data from the laboratory. Okay, so I have to do another one of these. $14.980. Oh, whoops. Wait, which one is it? Oopsies. Hey, Austin, thanks for the sub, man. Oh, we're close to the vessel, guys. Oh. Let's do this. $3.1. Go like a little bit below 50, like 50, 52, I guess. fucking doing. Magma? What? Go! Faster! Wait, what was the ground density? 3.7? $57.77. There we're going. Damn it! What? I was too fast. Bro! Restart required. $21.83. 0.6. You have no idea what's going on. We're drilling. We're going to the vessel. God damn it. Hey, where's the laboratory? $21.890. Let's get a move on, dude. Oh, God. Let him guide you. Wait, let who guide me? Oh, I understand. I think. RPM 33. What about the coordinates? 50-50. We're almost there. 40 meters. Oh no. Can't fucking see. My God. .2 70. These fucking things off here. $75.48. We're doing it! Oh my God. Torpedo. Where's this? Oh my god, this is fucked. Oh my god, that was stressful. I have some fucking glasses, man. Turn off vessel. Now you are close, very close. Look at me, it's time I made you see. Now you have to hurry. You must save him. The angel descended upon the earth and wiped every tear from their eyes. When the angel spoke, the earth shall give up on those who are asleep in it. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain. And the wicked rejected the angel's mercy, and so they cast the angel down deep below the earth, and there they bound the angel in a prison of stone. If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I make my bed in Sheol, you are there. Oh. A good fire extinguisher. Oh. I'll be fine. Gotta put out all the fire. fire is too strong. Really going here, aren't we? It's gotta crawl through the fire. I don't have the fire extinguisher anymore. Big jump. The Matryoshka incident. They awoke things that should have been left sleeping. Strahta never paid for their mistakes. You did. And what the hell is going on here? Okay, well, we're back. What's this? Victor, your rejection of our offer saddens me. This mission will be a one-of-a-kind, a true revival of the good old days. Forgive my sentimentality. Still, I want you to know that I understand your decision. I know your father and you never saw eye to eye. Now you are a father yourself. It's a heavy burden to bear, but I'm certain you will handle it with the same care, tenderness, and unfailing effort that you seem to give everything in your life. Proud of you, signs Stephan. Digit 2 is 3. What is that? Oh, it's okay. Gosh. This case is only to be opened if met with an insurmountable emergency. All crew members need to unanimously agree to open this case. Therefore, each crew member has been assigned one digit at random. May God help you. Digit 3 is 5. So it's My dear friend, let me tell you something I think would surprise you. Ever since I was first exposed to the signal, I've been hearing your voice again. This is a strange and wonderful thing in itself. The things you revealed to me about the signal are stranger and more wonderful still. You told me to interpret the frequency as brainwaves. It's not fickle or random, but an expression of something almost like a mind. Only one more vast and complex than anything we've ever encountered before. You also told me that this signal can be trapped. The Ritsenium seems to stabilize the signal when it passes through the crystal structure like a beam of light suspended by a prism. The two things are clearly linked, that much I can figure out even without you. Now there is talk about aborting the mission, and I feel like I may be the only one who realizes how close we are to uncovering something truly momentous. I so very much miss the correspondence we had. I know you would have understood. Yours truly, Yosep. Can I take this? No. Let's see, is there a digit in here? Eight. 835. Oh, the phone's in here. Oh, what is this? I hate to say I told you so, Stepan. You were the one who put this crew together. You knew some of your selections were, shall we say, controversial. And above all, you knew what risks those selections would bring. Look, I'm not trying to be heartless. All I'm saying is that this is not one of those situations I could bail you out from. You need to make some tough decisions. Too much is riding on this mission. We should reserve extraction for a true emergency. The symptoms the crew are experiencing could very well be because you are several kilometers below the surface. It doesn't have to be the signal. Let me just start by saying we are all devastated about Hritsenko's death. He was one of those geniuses that felt larger than life. But that doesn't change anything, Stepan. You have to keep going no matter what. I understand the situation is dire, but that enough is not grounds for extraction. And Hritsenko is truly not needed to operate the vessel, is he? The signal target coordinates seem to have been updated without issue. It's natural that you feel you're responsible for the crew. You are. They also knew the risks. This is not like the M12 mission. You know what you are up against. Not about to let your stubbornness be the death of you. You, if anyone, should know that sometimes a commander has to face reality, Stepan. Telling you this as a friend, if you extract now without Central Command permission, heads will roll. You know how the situation is up here. The earthquakes, the constant blackouts, the fucking dead who won't shut up. As long as even a single crew member remains alive, the public won't accept you giving up. We can't always save everyone we care about, Stepan. When we extract, we are going to need someone to take responsibility, and no, Stepan, it won't be you. Alright, well, we gotta find the rest of the digits. There's probably one in here. Maybe not. Dude, does the toilet not have a light switch? What is this? Unread order. Whoever's reading this, I'm so sorry. We finally had an update from Stepan about the state of the mission, about Yosep, about whatever monstrosity has made its way into the vessel with you. If only we'd known. Following information is absolutely critical. In Stepan's dorm, there's a gun case. There's just a single bullet on board for the most unthinkable of emergencies. I hope it can save you now. Make that shot count for tomorrow. We need to figure out the rest of the digits. Can't even go further. mean, there's got to be more notes. Just don't know where. You'd think there would be one in here. Not seeing anything though. Can't see shit in the bathroom. I mean, maybe I just have to brute force the rest, but I don't think so. Maybe the last one you do just have to cycle through it. I thought there was 5 digits for some reason. Yeah, maybe I don't know. That works. Is the bullet like already in the chamber or something? But it's a revolver, so I don't think that's not how it works. I don't know. We don't even have a bullet.
Viktor. Korrektativ Stefan. Это экстракционный. Теперь arbeidsgiver определил rapport. Strategisk sabotage. Отыграть секретную секретную. Попросили меня, а мы вторым разделением. Это было там какие подходы на текущую. Киум цезим фьюги без людей проводи. Попросили она уже время меня, высоки там соритома. Пока я просто мы корректируем на работу. Пока я сигам идем. Hvis du bakker i beginnelsen av bygda, men sikkert for skal vinne. Alle krever godt som ikke er dem så. De som plass til bakker krever mye.
Yo, Gloop and Drip, thank you for the 74 months. Damn. We're leaving? I don't want to leave. What is that? Is that a bunny? Yeah, the white rabbit. Where are you taking me, buddy? This is cool. Oh, we going into Hull? Oh. Go down the rabbit hole. Oh boy, it's dark. This is a little bit less comfy. Yeah. Gosh. Who's that? Oh, this is cool. Cave diving is so much fun. Yeah. Yeah, getting stuck in a fucking cave. Where's the light? Oh. Angel taught truth and secrets only she truly understood. They feared a world unaligned with the tyranny of their dogma, thus the angel was condemned and cast down. The angel refused the cruelty of fate. He shattered the boundaries between life and death. So let's just start with the left one. The angel descended onto the earth. The first witness lay wrapped in swaddling cloth. There's a baby. I think it's this one for the first. The angel taught truth and secrets only she truly understood. I mean, it's like a book, I think. All flesh withers, some flowers are out before they can bloom. The people mourn the ways of the world. Oh, some flowers are cut before they can bloom. I mean, the ways of the world, people die, I guess. They're mourning. I mean, this one might already be correct. The angel refused the cruelty of fate. He shattered the boundaries between life and death. Aha! I'm taking it. Oh. Alright, fuck it. I'm fine. Just gotta run.
lojalisterna kaikki muodot just ner. De ju sovorottavat tätä. Mais našli tulollisen kari. Kalatovi šokovrazi jasenetak. Kroz rozpaja, a i temperus ne prokujitume. Von vradi silkuli našni kurupaš. Joku sinne melantistajana šokone kristia. Elsonin, roklin sinästänä por. Hallo, prokulla lakkata.
Okay.
Odnana prosvašidili. Stratkalla toviaja. Se sovskalla kuruvisilkuli našni valassateli. Kodistala kumorovi just ne provistia.
I don't know if this guy's even fucking real, but this game is just this game just feels like such a trip. What's that sound? Oh. Maybe I should have left the light on. Oh, okay, we can go in. How far into the game are we? Like 2.5 hours, I think. Probably getting pretty close to the end if I had to guess. What's the mole? All right, follow the blood bridge. Why not? Victor? The Petro? What the fuck? What is happening? Oh! god. What am I? Oopsies. I have a second one. I guess I just need to click on the other spot and it'll just put it in right away. I don't know. I was a bit confused because I can't like access my inventory. Oh. Dude, this guy's fucking footsteps are so loud. He's still fucking here. How do I still hear this fucking guy? I wonder if that's a bug. Oh no, he's still chasing me. Fucking go faster! Dude! Go! Oh, bullet. Want to go deeper down than anyone. What? What am I doing? I can't select anything. I don't understand what I'm supposed to do. Like I couldn't like I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to fucking reload the gun. I couldn't click on anything. My fucking cursor was gone. It like bugged out or something. Oh. Find recording equipment, record my essence onto Petro's cassette, bring the cassette to me, bring us together, board the other vessel, that I can bring him back to you. Fuck it. Barely fucking move. We finally managed to pick up the readings of the signal. It's weak, but it's definitely something that, it's definitively something there with its own signature. Good to know we didn't drill all the way for nothing. I don't know why I would want to turn it off, but... $3 meters. Oh, I can go down. Cut extraction cables. That's a lot of sets. Fuck it. Signal too weak. We've cut the extraction cables, thinking talking getting difficult. There's something here with us. It must stay here. We must stay here. Just wish I remembered why. What's up, Spicy? Thanks for the 20 months, buddy. This game's been cool. It's not like been super scary or anything, but it's been good. Oh, the pilot seat. Can I move this fucking guy out of the way? Fuck it, we're going. All a dream? Actually, no, maybe not. Maybe this is like, because I'm like dying, this is like my memories or something. Dear Petro, the day I'm writing this, you are just turning 6. My plan is to give you this letter by the day you turn 16, or perhaps when you get your first job, or perhaps when you get married. When does a child stop being a child? I could tell you that when I look at you now, making noises with your toy drill, or when you draw with all the colors that you have, or when you keep glancing out the window, because perhaps soon, the rain will be gone and we can go to the playground. Right now I feel that you will always be my little boy, forever. I wonder what kind of young man you will be by the time I give this letter to you. Will you be a rascal or a studious bookworm? You go to the Strata Institute to be a navigator like your dad? I hope not. You'll probably be a bit ashamed of me, as teenagers usually are. The only thing I can say for certain is that no matter what path you choose in life, I will always love you, your father, Victor. Feels bad, man. Okay. I passed my examinations. There's a key. A remarkable revival. Just when you thought old man Kaminsky had lost his touch, he does it again. Taras Kaminsky, who became a household name when he cemented the record for the deepest descent in 1964, describes himself as someone who has always been a restless soul. Back in the heydays of drilling, they just couldn't keep me away from the ground, he says. People at Strata used to say I must be part mole. Oh my god, they said it. It's been 9 years since Strata's last manned deep earth drilling mission. Destabilized bedrock and falling mineral prices has been some of the reasons why vessels such as the M12 were figuratively put on the shelf. Felt right somehow, Kaminsky laughs. When asked about why he chose to accept the mission that is as daring as it is dangerous, the M12 and I have been through a lot together. When Strata unveiled the mission, I just thought to myself, no way I'm letting anyone else go down with her. There might be more noble reasons hidden beneath the surface. Kaminsky, who became a grandfather just a few years ago, continues more solemnly. There are things that I can't speak about regarding the mission. I'm sure you understand, but it might be important. More important than anything we've ever done before. And of course it's going to be dangerous. That's why I feel this is a good opportunity for the old guard to take point. I should have been more present as a father myself. Now I want to give my son the opportunity to stay at home and be the kind of presence I could never be for him. When I asked Kaminsky if his grandchild wouldn't also want a grandfather present in his life, Tara simply laughs. His jovial nature back so quickly it was like it never left. You talk as if I'm going towards certain death, he says, but I am the best navigator who has ever lived. Of course I'm coming back, and what a story I'll have to tell little Petro when I do. I wonder, like, what happened to the kid, though? Like, why was he fucking... Like, what actually happened? He was in like a full body bandage. Right, the apartment fire. Yeah, I guess that makes sense because everything was on fire. Yeah. That makes sense. It's like Evil Within. Game is not horror, game is sad. I don't know, there was like a few decent like chase sections in this game, but yeah, it wasn't like super scary. It's been a good game though. It's been fun so far. I imagine we're pretty close to the end here.
Давайте подавзу.
Patyka. Patyka dwie teraz widzisz werka zobacz. Je väldigt kallt hos mig då. Så det är kallt för det var lite.
Просто диати ме касети.
Ja.
Да ти почуни метим.
Det nie var mi siadi. Var det kan jag säga för sitt nieji.
О, святте. Сколько представь, чем измаз.
Det är jävligt viktigt så var Kaminski.
Oh, what the? This is an interesting way to do the credits.
Продолжайте записать.
Oh, I can move.
Ми писали замен двигал кабинетът de bana. И се пази пистолетка за бебет варианти.
Så blir det då in där de går ju beväpna.
Och nästa val som Viktor vill ni взебе таби. Вот так, патрони. Зобьон напривана.
Det blir tiskare sen kommer möjligt för cigaretter. Kivardi på cigaretter.
Ти бам салам преносил и забавив je кухна. Стори торг напривана. Просто остан.
Jo, det vi ska bli så idiotiska de på stelpartiet. Det är alltså signalistiska. Det var precis vad man kan se på.
Да, Каменский был не более ясен.
Det man kan smijas, det är Kaminski, jag vill se när vi då är fantastiskt.
We were insane after all. Well, yeah, that was kind of... That was pretty obvious, I think.
А не смеем Богдан Плужник да забере го сломит?
Ні, я vil ikke det Kaminski kid. Drago vil ikke se på sin kall på slutsnik vil se Kaminski. Jeg snakker til Karke Fusak her. Snart var det efter precis jag det ju nå. Det var så mycket den klassen. Så det är inte Kaminski, det är så klart.
Фатняка.
Pseudologien kan ta keyboard till den key utverkas. Jag tror att det kallas. Kaminski узкая казино, precis okej. Востоket så tänker jag. Verkligen inte som en mission.
И я доли не родом сина.
Ja, det... Det är bättre. Du kan träffa spektaklet som ger dig som ger oss fara.
Это мисия не на мудростни. За дело глобинар сили их чапа. И вот мы здесь еще не вреда. Не просто не ушло напрасно.
They have the tape.
На завтра då.
Or tomorrow.
На
Oh,
завтра.
fuck it. Put it in. The game just closed itself. I wonder if there's another ending or if that's it. I got all the achievements, so yeah, I think so. I think that's all. That was a cool game. You can go back in the menu. There's a few new things. Oh yeah. I assume if I press play, it's just... Yeah, it is. I think it's just playing the game again. I thought maybe something there would be like something. Is there another cassette in the main menu? Oh. Yeah, everything is fucking destroyed. Timer's going down. I don't think... Well, I don't know. We can sit here for a moment. I don't know if anything's gonna happen. My computer will shut down. That'd be a little fucked up. I wonder what happens if you actually wait it out. Or if you even can wait it out. No, because I think the timer resets back higher again. Alright. Well, so the plan now, chat. We could do more Convergence mod and try to finish that, or we could do the new White Knuckle map. Or well, we have to get there, is the thing. No more horror slop. Well, White Knuckle's kind of a horror game. Goodbye.